Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada J. Now Jedi, let me know is the volume still too low because I checked my system and I turned it up. All right, so you guys know I'm gonna be, reviewing a couple of shows. Um, but for the most part, I definitely want my channel to be about some important things and not having to worry about if it's so controversial or not because this is YouTube. So I want to. When I was doing Facebook, I felt a little closed in because I would have people coming to me at school and being like, I think your video kind of took it too far. And how I've always been a person who doesn't like to offend people, so I know Jedi, but I decided to maybe move to a bigger platform where more people would, understand what I was saying. And, of course, there are probably still going to be people who don't, and I understand that you could always hit the dislike button. I don't mind that, express yourself. But, so yeah, so I usually have a lot of interesting things going on at school. Usually on a day-to-day basis, I'm debating about something. So this week it was interesting because it was like a series of debates with one person. Um, and it was really a lot about the presidency and what's going on. You feel me? So, and I'm not a hands-on politic person, but I do like to see what's going on in my world. So I try and keep up with the debates and as far as who's in the lead and who are we handing the country to, pretty much. You feel me? So yeah. Okay, so this week I'm in Trig, which is my last period class, and we were doing some work, but it was like we could talk when we were doing our work. So we get into discussing the presidents because there's just one friend and I, we like to actually discuss what's going on in the world. So she's like, so let's see, like, what can we discuss today. And you know what, I was like, what about Mr. Donald Trump? You feel me? Because I'm not rocking with Donald, but I know there are some people who are. Um so yeah, then somebody else joins in, which I don't mind. And they're saying how, like, and I was a little surprised. All right, I don't want to say why because I still go to school, y'all, and I'm not. All right, anyway, so if you guys pick up on like maybe what I'm talking about, okay, but I can't say it. So I was surprised because she was kind of like, I don't like Donald Trump, and he's definitely a racist, and he would probably just hire white people. You know what I'm? And I was surprised at her because it was like I'm she's a real person, but I was a little surprised because there's a commonality. I'm not gonna say what it is, and I was surprised to be hearing her coming out and saying like, yes, if he was president, he would definitely only hire white people, and they would definitely have special treatment. Things of that nature. So, and I don't know Donald Trump, so I don't want to disrespect him. All I'm saying is what I've heard him say and just racist remarks. All right, I don't. That's what I gotta do, everybody. So, yeah. So then we get into, who would you like to see, be president if you could vote and whatever. And I'm like, definitely Bernie Sanders. And she goes, oh, he's all right and everything like that. And I was kind of sensing a little bit of like, I don't really know all about Bernie. So, we're talking and I was like, oh, you don't really like him that much or something? And she goes, she thinks he's making promises that can't be fulfilled. And a lot of people, and I automatically knew what she was talking about because this is what a lot of people have been saying. Like, I was like, oh, you're talking about like the free college situation. Listen, here's what I say about that. Let's put Bernie in office and see what he can do. You feel me? And he just seems like that. Like, I trust Bernie Sanders. So yeah, because that's been the thing everybody's been flipping out about. He's making, just promises that can't be fulfilled. You feel me? So we're talking and whatnot. She was like, however, I do like that, he's talking about legalizing marijuana. And I wasn't aware of this. I didn't know he was gonna do this. So I go, is he really? So she detected in my voice, like, I'm not really feeling that. It could be it's the least of my worries though. Like, that wouldn't stop me from voting for Bernie. I would still vote Bernie. But she's talking about like, why wouldn't you really like that? And I'm just telling her this is what I said verbatim, everybody. I said the idea of drugs running free ain't for me. You feel me? And she comes with the well, why not? And I'm like, well, I don't like drugs. First of all. And then I go, there's been studies that show marijuana definitely contributes in the destruction of brain cells. And she goes, oh yeah, Jada, but so does, drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes. And I'm just saying, okay, so that's fine, but you're gonna add more things that contribute to health impairment in the future. You want more things, Um, so she's just like, honestly, I feel like you're kind of talking in circles, and I'm giving you a statistic and whatnot, and yeah, because she did say something about it studies surveys shown that 42% of the people in states that have legalized marijuana are more like the crime rate went down 42% because everybody was chill. You feel me? Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. Um, and either way it goes, this is what I said. I said if I was running for president, okay, weed could be legalized for medicinal purposes and medicinal purposes only. And that's how it is in most, states. And that's fine. Medicinal purposes only. You feel me? But if you're just wanting to go down the street and buy some weed, I vote no. Okay, sorry everybody. Don't hate me, all right? It's not such a big deal though. Like that's the whole thing. It wasn't even really something I wanted to debate, but she was taking it there, so I said, okay, she must really want to know what I have to say about it. So then we kind of move on because she goes, I don't think we're going to agree on it. And I go, you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? So then she's like, wow, like this is kind of radical. And she goes, what else are you kind of, iffy about? And there was this one thing that we got into, but we didn't really get into it. So I don't want to talk about it. But, so the next big thing would probably be, abortion. And yeah. So, she goes, if you like think like this about this, what do you think about abortion? And mind you, I have the other friend kind of ducked out because she realized that it was kind of turning into an argument. But she would interject at points, but she was like, "No, no, I gotta say something about this." But I have a friend sitting across from me, so she kind of answered first, and she goes, I'm not really with abortion unless the person maybe experienced something and they just felt like I can't keep this child. And by experience something, I hope you guys know what I mean. I don't want to say it, but just you know it wasn't consensual. So she's like, oh, really, like that? She was like, why do you think that that's the only reason somebody should get an abortion? And she pretty much just comes forth, okay, but any other reason, you knew what you were doing, you decided to have intercourse and lay down, so you got pregnant, so now you want to abort the child. And now I would have say this right off the top, I'm not an abortion fan. However, I wouldn't have less respect for somebody who got an abortion. I just for the same thing, like what my friend said, if it wasn't consensual and you just felt like I can't do this, then that's understandable. But for me to know what you're doing and then didn't use contraception, or even if that didn't work out, you still knew what you were doing. Like no contraception is really 100% effective unless we're talking about abstinence. And I also brought that up. She was like, no, Jada. She goes, you can't honestly say that, abstinence is the best solution. I said, that's definitely what I'm saying. She goes, Jada, but that's you. There's a bunch of teens out here running around having intercourse. I said, I definitely agree with you. So if they get pregnant, then that's their own fault. But now you want to abort something, because her thing was, that's not my fault if I was using contraception and it broke or something like that. You feel me? And I'm like, is she serious? Like, I couldn't really wrap my head around it because I have respect for her. And it was a good debate ultimately, but it was just like, what? Like, I can't do. I can't. And then I had raised the question, okay, well, why can't you go through with the pregnancy? Okay, I can't handle this, put the child up for adoption. You feel me? And she was like, you can't honestly say that that's the best thing because a lot of kids end up in foster care at the hands of adoption. And I go, you're absolutely right. But at the end of the day, that's a decision that you had to make because of the decision that you chose to make when you laid down and did what you had to do. Or in a boy's case, you couldn't keep it in your pants. So at the end of the day, to say, I'm not going to take care of this child. And then she says something that's arguable because she goes, well, technically it's not a baby yet. It's just a heart. So there's really no life going on. I tell her, I go, listen, that's arguable. All right. All right. If you're somebody who is, and I don't want to say that because some people might disagree. If you're speaking on a scientific level, maybe, okay, in your eyes, that's not a life. But I'm speaking in terms of somebody who, if a doctor tells you you're pregnant, okay, whether you want to be or not, your mindset should be, I'm pregnant. It's not, oh, technically ain't no baby in there, so I'm not pregnant. No, no, no. Once the doctor told you you're pregnant, there's a life in there. You feel me? So it's arguable her trying to say there's really nothing in there. It's not a fetus yet. Okay, that's your opinion. You feel me? You might not be able to argue it scientifically, but religiously, I could argue that because I would say as soon as the doctor tells you you're pregnant, you pregnant. It's a life in there. And I think Jehovah would say the same thing. So at the end of the day, that's how we rolling. You feel me? That's how we rolling. You know what I'm saying? So and I couldn't believe, which it was almost astounding. It was astounding because I have, respect for her. I've always had respect for her. And I was glad that she was telling me like what was going on, like as far as what she thinks about that, because I spoke to her one time before about, pro life, pro choice. And she put out there that she's pro choice. And again, I said I don't have any less respect for her than I did before. But I felt like it was a little of her trying to convince me that I should be pro choice, and that won't happen. You feel me? Now, I'm not going to judge nobody. So I'm not the type of person that's, oh my God, you disgust me. No, I'm just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think the tiptoeing around it as if, oh, well, it's not technically, you're not really, nah, dude. If the doctor hits you with a you're pregnant, you're pregnant. That's it. Okay? So once you decide to terminate the pregnancy, you have killed a life. And I said, what about the complications that people have to go through after they've maybe had an abortion? Some years later, they actually get married and they want to have children. Oh, well, you can't because of the abortion that you had when you were so and so years old or some years ago. There were complications with it, so that's just what happens. And then she tries to come with, well, that rarely happens. I said, well, if it happens, it happens. Okay, so rarely is not really, that's not really doing anything for me. You feel me? If it's there, it's there. And maybe I do want to talk a little bit about the other thing because she tried to come with some rare stuff right there too. I wasn't here for it. All right, but listen, as far as the abortion situation, I guess there was an incident because she's lobbying for Congress, and I was like, wow, this is a really intelligent young lady. Go for it. You feel me? And I guess they had to pick a topic to lobby, and there was a young man in her lobbying group, and I guess he said how he's gonna say how he's pro life, and she kind of, I guess, lost a little bit of respect for him. I don't really think that it was because he said. I think it was because of the things that he was saying that she didn't agree with. And I remember her first telling me the story, and the young man seemed a little insensitive on certain like things that she just there was a instance where I guess they were speaking about it and she wanted to get more clear before she really started getting heated up, you feel me? So she came forth and was like, so what do you mean? Like, and he said, well, I just don't think that, abortion should be a choice. And she said, okay, what if you're, raped or incest happens or something like that? And I guess the young man was like, you should still at least have the baby and give it up for abortion. And I think that was a little insensitive to say because unless you're there, like you were raped or there was some incest going on, you can't honestly say, well, girl, just go through with the pregnancy. And some people could say that. You feel me? But I don't think it was it was very insensitive of him to just kind of say it like that. Like, okay, you still need to go. You know what I mean? So on that note, I agree with her. But as far as the young man being pro-life, I don't really have issues with that. And it's almost difficult for me. No, I'm not even gonna say that. Listen. Here's the thing. Just when I'm talking to her, she was really almost getting heated. That I'm telling her like, yo, I'm pro-life. You feel me? And just that, what was really so surprising to me was when I said abstinence, she was like, "What? No, no, like that won't work." What do you mean that won't? What do you mean that won't work? That's the most 100% effective form of contraception there is. So what else do you want? You feel me? And she already made and staked her claim and said no form of contraception, and I corrected her and said abstinence is 100% effective. No other form of contraception is 100% effective. I said you're absolutely right. So when you decided to lay down, or in a young man's case, pull it out, you knew that this is not 100% effective. So whether she's on birth control or he put something on, that's not 100% effective. It's not. And you know this. So she kind of gave herself up in a way. And I said, look, If you know this, I know this. The young man that you're messing with, he should know this. And I don't think she messed with nobody. I don't know. I'm using that as an example. If everybody knows this, then if you don't want a child, abstinence is the best way, unless you're married and you're planning on a child. Okay, and she also brought up, I'm a I'm a young girl, you know what I'm saying? So if I was, she tries to use an example. She goes, if I was pregnant right now and she's talking to me and my friend, she goes, you guys would think I should keep the baby. And we both go, yeah, because you decided to, do what you did. And she goes, no, that's not fair. I'm in school. I don't have a job. I don't have, I'm not financially stable. And we go, then why were you doing what you were doing? And she goes, if I use, contraception, then I'm good. Nah. If the contraception that you use was not abstinence, you're at risk for everything. Okay? Everything. You feel me? Because you said it yourself. Nothing is 100% effective except for abstinence, which apparently was so astounding to her that I said abstinence. Like, oh my gosh, no teen is abstinent. I myself am. My sister is. The friend that was across from the table from me, she is. The one next to me, she was too. You feel me? So that idea, and it comes from a lot of youth, that idea that, oh my God, you abstinent? Oh my God, you're trying to wait till you're married? Oh my, are you serious? As if I should be in a museum as a statue to look at. Like, it's that amazing. Oh, this is one of a kind. No, this should be the thought process of everybody. It ain't, it's not. You know what I'm saying? I know some people who it's not a thought process. Like, no, no, no. I won't be waiting until I'm married. I have one friend, love her to death. But, you're having a young man sleep, and I guess this is her boyfriend. She would have him spend the night in this, that, and the third. Look, and I told her straight from the top, because look, I gotta keep it real. So I tell her, I says, that young man shouldn't be spending the night. She goes, well, why not? I said, well, you're not married, so that should be the only sleepover that you're ever having. You feel what I'm saying? And she's like, well, no, this is my boyfriend and whatever else. They're not together no more. You feel me? So, and that's not shade on her. It's just the idea. And the truth is, you shouldn't be having sleepovers. That's the truth. As me, I believe the idea of courting should be brought back. I'm not dating everybody. I'm only 16. But when I do, I certainly need to find a young man who's okay with courting. My mom courted, and that's what I plan on doing. So it just, look, I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm better than anybody. I certainly don't think that. We make mistakes every day. You feel me? That's just how it happens. That's life. This is where we live. But I think to try and that idea of, oh, it's not my fault. When you decided to, I don't understand. You decided to have intercourse, but now it's not your fault that you're pregnant. That's a new one for the books, everybody. I can't, dude. I can't. And then the idea that you yourself came up with, the contraception is not 100% effective. Okay, so you proved my point. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? But she gonna try and make it seem like, so it's not my fault. I can't. Now let's shift over to gun control, because that was the other one. And we didn't really get so heavily into this. Because my friend and her, she's my friend as well. She had they really went into conversation about that and gun control and how Hillary is very like bars on. And I was like, I'm okay with that, and Bernie is too. He just said there should be like intense background checks. Hillary is kind of trying to take it to another level, which I get it, of course. But like, and Bernie said this, he said if we make it so hard for them to get guns, they're gonna go get guns on the black market, and we're gonna have a higher crime rate, because that's kind of what's happening now. Okay, it's too hard for me to get a gun legally, so I'm going to go somewhere else to get it. No, now I think they should definitely tighten the I think there should be, and he said it too, intense background checks. But she was trying to really like, and he was telling her, if we do that, then it's gonna be easier for them to go get a gun on the black market, because they're not gonna want to go through that whole process of getting a gun legally. You feel me? So, and the young lady I'm talking to, her, my friends, start getting into it, because she goes, okay. people, no, she said it first. She goes, if somebody has a gun range in their basement, you're no longer trying to practice your gun skills. You have it down there for fun. Which honestly, okay, but and even if that was the case, which I disagree with, it could be, but I don't think that that's even the main. But anyway, my friend goes, what if that's not true? What if they're trying to, have target practice and make sure they get their shot right? She was like, then they can go, out to the gun range or whatever the case. And why do they have to have one in their basement? And so she's just like, because like I said, they're trying to get some target practice. She goes, well, things like machine guns, and she was like, she understands the Constitution, which is the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Now, okay, so she said, but back in the day, we didn't have like machine guns and all the other 357 Magnum, so just or 375, whatever it is, I don't know, something like that. She goes, we didn't have all that stuff. So yeah, of course, back then we had that amendment, but it's different now because of the intensity of our weapons and what we have now. So I said, okay, I could agree with you on that. The weapons are a lot more, you know. And she goes, so I'm like, okay, what if the parents have one for protection and, safety and whatnot? She goes, okay, Jada, but let's think about it. The people who have been doing the killing, she was like, let's even go back to Sandy Hook and, whatever. She goes, these people have had access to their parents' weapons. Now, and here's what I should have, but I didn't. And I gotta keep it OG 100 right here. Let's be clear. And my friend tried to do it too, but I said don't do it because I hope you guys have figured out the commonality between her and Donald Trump. That's why I was surprised she was really giving it. She was, my friend, she was gonna go on the level and say, what color were the people who, have done things of that nature? And I said, no, I don't think she was ready. That's why I didn't want to do it, because it would have became something completely different. And we were talking about guns, so I wanted to keep it at that level, you feel me? And not make it a race thing. But at the end of the day, I said also, but wait a minute, these people were mentally unhinged. So had their parents, first of all, should have known this and put codes and locks and stuff on the whatever they have, or get rid of them completely. Your child is unhinged. You feel me? So yeah, she's like, Jada, again, that's you. That's not what everybody would do. I said, well, that is what everybody should be doing. You know what I'm saying? And I would say the one where I was most shocked at was the abortion topic, because that's of course what took the cake and whatnot. But I mean, I still have a lot of respect for it, and we ended it with, good talk and good debate and everything. So there's no hard feelings or anything like that. But overall, we disagreed on pretty much everything. Overall, And I also want to talk about something else. Now, and I want to apologize to my one friend fakely, because he told me he ain't gonna watch one of he tells me, you guys get this. He said if one of my videos is an hour, I'm not gonna watch it. See, that's the problem. But anyway, so I think this might have been, I think it was this week. Nah, I think it was probably last week, Friday, Wednesday. Jasmine, what are you doing? Last week, Wednesday, maybe Friday. And I'm in band. So, So we're talking or whatever about politics, just me and a couple of friends or whatever. Of course, the teacher, he didn't want to get involved with it. And so we're just talking. And she's, Jasmine, could you come on, please? Please. Thank you. Jasmine. J- 2 minutes. She in the bathroom. Okay, that's my sister, everybody. Anyway. So yeah, we're in band. And we're talking about, I guess this scandal had hit where Hillary had taken some money for funding her campaign from the KKK. Now, I heard about this, um, and it wasn't something I wanted to discuss because I know how upset I get about it, and people tell me, and I don't even like to call it upset. I'm a passionate person, so passion just comes out, and that's to somebody who's not passionate, it looks like I'm angry, but I'm just passionate. That's it, and then I get mad too. So, but moving on. So yeah, we're talking about this, and I'm like, I think that that's, completely despicable and everything, and that's just, it's not right. I would have been like, no, I'm not gonna take this money. I'm over it. And, she said, and there's a commonality here too, everybody, if you got me, then we've got each other. And, she goes, well, it wouldn't have been fair for her to say, I'm not going to take your money, especially if she's taking money from other funders of her campaign. For her to not take money from the KKK, it would have been like she's discriminating against them. Now, I'm sitting here like, I know, like, it was a blur for me, because I was like, I know this is not going down. Like, I really know she didn't just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a shock to me, because this is one of the people I'm not even gonna call it a debate. We argue because I feel like just something, this is a friend of mine as well, but the stuff she be saying is like, what are you talking about? And I tell her this, and I told her that, because that was an argument. I'm over it. And she goes, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't understand what you're talking about. And, oh my gosh, everybody, because I'm starting to get passionate. I'm getting passionate. She goes on to say, well, honestly, we don't really know if the KKK is the most brutal group. We just know that they're the most prominent. And that's not even the word she used, but I'm filling it in, all right, to make it better, because that word sounds better. Sorry, all right, I am. Okay, and I'm not better than her, but I'm telling you the word, I don't even remember it. Anyway, so yeah, they might not be the most brutal group, they're just the most prominent. What? And first of all, I said, okay, I don't understand why you brought that up. It don't matter. What I know about the KKK, they're a brutal group. And to me, the most brutal group. So I don't want to hear about anything else. I didn't understand what she was talking about. The point was invalid. I don't even know what it was. That's the whole thing. Like, what difference? So she would have took money from maybe, the KKK is not that bad. There might be some worse groups, so she could take their money. You're not making any sense. That's the whole thing. They're going to look at me like I'm crazy because I got up and I was, raise my voice, whatever. Call it yelling if you want to. I wasn't yelling. I was just telling her. Because we leave band because we had this discussion and, she's whispering in the background, which really annoys my life. But I was so mad that I said, God, zip it. So I come in the lunchroom because I have lunch right after band. So I'm walking. I get down there and my friend, I guess she had said something to my friend, and my friend goes, Jada, what are you being one-minded about this time? Because I guess she called me single-minded. And I look at her because I already knew it was her. And she goes, no, I go, what am I single-minded about? Like, what are you talking about? She goes, I was just, and she got mad at the person because she was like, I wasn't trying to start an argument or whatever. Well, clearly you were, because you were talking mess 2 minutes before I got down to the cafeteria, so I'm over it. And again, with this situation, I just want to let y'all know we agreed to disagree, but whatever. Well, I agreed to disagree because she was just talking garbage and I was over it. So I get down there, I'm like, what am I single-minded about this time? Because she's always calling me single-minded, self-righteous, and whatever else. A racist, a black supremacist, all the other BS and all of it. I know you guys are kind of like, this is your friend. It's complicated. So, I get down there. She goes, yeah, I was just telling her how you weren't really trying to understand my side. You were just talking, because mind you, I didn't tell you guys this. We were talking about Donald Trump. And she goes, actually, people just treat Donald Trump like a joke, but he's actually got some good ideas. She was like, I'm not saying that he's a good person. I'm just saying that we need to hear him out. So I didn't even say anything on that because I was just so goodbye. You know what I'm saying? And then after that's when we got to the Hillary Clinton accepting money from the KKK. So I get to the lunchroom. And she's like, I just felt like you weren't really trying to hear me out and whatever, whatever. I said, no, I heard you out and I didn't agree. So I let you know that you were talking garbage and I said what I needed to say. And she goes, well, honestly, I just feel like you didn't give me a fair chance to explain myself. You explained enough. And what you were saying was, everything was invalid, irrelevant. And I told her that. I said, what you're saying to me, because again, the KKK maybe not being the most brutal group. And then another friend of mine comes in and she sees me standing up. And she knows sometimes I could be intense and passionate. So she already knew there was a problem. And so she comes in and she goes, Jada, why is Jada standing? So she asks her because she already knows, okay, at this point there's something wrong. So then she tells her, she goes, we disagreed because I just tried to tell her that there's probably more brutal groups. No, she said that there are more brutal groups than the KKK out there and, whatever. And, I just don't think that that's true or whatever it was. And then so my friend, my other one, she goes, well, the KKK is the most brutal group that we know of, but we don't really know. So she was disagreeing with me too, pretty much. And so she's like, yeah, that's what. And that was hers was worse, but hers was like, I don't necessarily agree with you, but I don't agree with you either. So, but hers was just all around. I said, that's not what you were trying to say. All right. So she tells me to sit down. So I'm trying to chill. So I'm sitting down and I'm saying, she was like, Jada, I'm just trying to tell you that they're probably not the worst group out there. And I go, what you're saying to me is irrelevant right now because I'm not going to speak on something I don't know about because then I'm ignorant. So if I speak on something I don't know about, I look dumb because I'm just going to be talking in circles. I'm going to be equivocating and I'm going to be talking in circles. So I then tell her, I said, the points you're making are invalid. What you're saying is irrelevant to me as far as this topic goes, and we're not going to agree on it. And she's looking at me like I've gone completely insane. Oh, no. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I told her. And then she going to try and be like, yeah, well, nah. I didn't already I gave you an arm. You're trying to take a mile. You feel me? I didn't already gave you, okay, you might be wrong. Cause I gave her the truth, everybody. Gosh dang, I won't try to go around it. Okay. So I got one more story for you guys. I got just one more. So I think this might have been Monday. Because I have a friend of mine who, okay, I tell you guys weekly, I'm arguing or debating something. And just usually racism, because I get called a racist and a black supremacist all the time. I take it with a grain of salt at this point. So yeah, we're at the table and there's a discussion of police brutality, which by the way is my topic for my research paper. So this should be interesting because I have to try and be as objective as possible, and I will be if I want a good grade, which I do. So and the facts will, I think, even out. So anyway, so we're sitting there, we're talking about police brutality, and of course there's the disagreements of it, and I'm talking about how prominently white officers, African American males, or people, if you rather. So, and mind you, this friend, he is like, for me, just on this topic, changes with the wind. And I tell him this because that's what we get arguing about. And so he goes, well, Jada, come on now. Now, this was my problem. This was my problem because there had to be about three people. It was me against three people, and then he joined in. So it was me against four. But before he joined in, it was already me defending my thesis to three people. So, which I'm fine. I can handle it. So, and they weren't really trying to attack me. They were just, telling me their opinion, which I appreciate, of course. And, so he comes in, he's like, well, wait a minute, Jada, because, and he's like, because there's some black officers out there doing it too. Now, here's what's my problem with this. Because I'm not even trying to say that's untrue. But first of all, for you to try and, because his was an attack. It was more of just like, okay, yeah, let's add somebody else in to go against Jada. So, and it wasn't like you're trying to really help me. It wasn't even like, I just want to tell you, no. You were trying to make it seem as if what I was saying was completely wrong, because here's what he was trying to do. He was trying to make it seem like black officers' attacks on whites or whatever other race is at the same number as a white officer's attacks on whatever black people in any other race. It's not. It is not. All right. So I want to get that out. So, and then that's why I tell you he changes with the wind, because I think it was Wednesday, and he said something. I guess that I didn't watch the Oscars, so, but Stacey Dash had, I guess, made an appearance or something like this, and said that she's here to represent her people, with the fact that there were no black nominees. And I have an interesting story about that too, but I don't even want to do it in this video because So yeah, I guess it was along the lines of, I'm here to support my people and whatever the case. So he's like, I can't believe that she would come out here and try and act like she's a supporter of us. Are you serious? And I'm kind of at this point like, wait a minute, you're a supporter of your people now? And this is another thing I argue with him about because again, and he's not really a fan of. I don't want to twist his words, but this is what happened. He likes Hispanic women, and he likes Caucasian women to date. So I said, wait a minute, you don't like the sisters? He was like, well, I've had some bad experiences with them. First of all, at this, he's 18. You shouldn't have been dating. So, and I tell him this too. This is my friend, everybody. But that's my opinion. I know people are gonna disagree. If you happy with the person, have at it. But so, and I was like, so you're gonna blame the whole thing? He was like, no, Jada. Okay, I like the sisters, but I just like a lot of the men in my family have married, either Hispanic or white women. I only have one uncle that married a black woman. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, so I'm like, so now you're a supporter of your people now? And he goes, Jada, what you talking about? I've always been a supporter of my people, and whatever this that. And I was like, wait a minute. But you try, because he'll get mad at me and so other people because I try to make a distinction. Because she'll try to say we're all the same. No, we're not. We're not the same. And that's not a bad thing. We're just not. I mean, come on now. Because I'll try to be like, like I'll say something like, I like the brothers or something like that, and she'll be like, "What is the brothers?" And I'll, black men or whatever. That's I've never really actually said that, but that's an example. And she'll be like, "What do you mean?" Like as if she's offended that I'm making a distinction between black men and white men when there is one. So, and that's not a bad thing. That's what it is. And nobody's going around preaching that we're all the same. And not, at least not in that way. We're not. We can act, because I have friends who are Caucasian and Hispanic, and it don't matter. I don't even think about it. Like, these are my friends. But I don't try to act like we all the same. I don't try and do that. Not on that level. Yeah, maybe we all have good grades in school, or we like to watch TV. Okay, in that way we're the same. But let's not try to make it all around we're the nah, dude. And I'll say it like this, and this isn't me being ignorant. This is me telling the truth. One of my very good friends, she's African, like thoroughbred, authentic African. She's from Sudan. No, her father is Trinidadian, and her mom, I can't remember. I know her mom speaks Arabic, but she's African. She speaks like a number of different languages. It's actually really impressive. That's the She is the person I've had the best conversation ever talking about anything like racism, because it's like we're on the exact same page. Like, I'm talking to me. Like, that's the best conversation I've ever had. And we have conversations about it daily. And we agree. You feel me? Because anybody else, it might be okay at the moment we're agreeing, but then, oh no, JD, you're taking it too far. Never. Like, we're on the same page. If anything, she might try and take it a little bit further than me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I never thought about it like that. That's the best conversation I've had with anybody ever about racism, because I'm always shut down. Shut down. You feel me? Or just everybody's coming at me from here, from there, from right here. You feel me? Just everywhere. No, no, no. We're talking about racism, it's gonna be an amazing conversation because we're on the same page. We're on the same page. It almost amazes me, because every time I've spoken to somebody about racism, it's usually that same, like I said, oh, I was with you on that, but that's a little too much. And it ain't. In my opinion, it ain't. It ain't enough. Go watch the Jedi, everybody. Go watch it. Hey, Jedi, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't really appreciate it now. That's the best conversation I've ever had. That's the best conversation. I'm not even trying to say that it's because she's an African, but I don't know, because that's the best conversation I've ever had. And and she's really cool too, because how there are some like authentic Africans, they don't like when African Americans consider themselves African. Because if I'm talking to her or anybody, I'll consider myself an African. And I have another friend, she's from Sudan. And she's like, Jada, let me tell you this, if you went to any country in Africa, they would tell you that you're not an African. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, but I'm talking to my one friend. And she goes, actually, like, Africans from, one of the countries in the continent, they will say that they actually like when African Americans consider themselves an African, because that is a problem. Some African Americans try to be like, I'm not African, and I know somebody who does that, and it irritates my soul. You feel me? Oh my gosh, I can't. I can't. And here's the, and I want to say this too. Closing out. I think people need to be a little bit more open-minded as far as I'm giving you my opinion. So could you not call me a racist and a black supremacist? Like every time and I'm telling you the truth. That's the thing. I'm not being self-righteous. I'm not being a black supremacist. I'm not being racist. I love my people. Period. If you're calling me a black supremacist for that, then that's fine. But that's not what it is. Even if I say something like that, that's actually a key example. If I say I love my people, she's like, your people? Like, girl, you know what I'm talking about now. I love everyone, so let's not get it twisted. If you're cool. Because if you ain't cool, then I'm over you. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Just like that person might be over me, I'm over you. All right? But I'm a person, I usually get along with people. Because there has to be some type of basis of understanding. Because some people just get really mad at anything. Like, well, she looked at me. I'm not that kind of person. So let me go ahead and talk to you and see what's going on. Okay, she's cool. Or, he all right. Something like that. But if you ain't cool, then I'm over it. And it might just happen to be that you white or Hispanic or black. You have a messed up attitude, so therefore I don't care for you. But which has yet to happen, because I really haven't been in that headspace where I'm like, I don't like her. I like everybody at my high school. I like all the teachers and everything like that. Just there's some hectic things going on. That's all it is. That's all it is. But I want to close out saying this, ending on that note. My videos on YouTube might be a little lengthy. So, because on Facebook, everybody, get this, I could have, but people wouldn't have watched it. So, and I like to do videos that are going to be putting a message out. So, my maximum on Facebook was like 13 minutes. And even then, people are like, oh my God, Jada, that's really long. It's 13 minutes. And I started out doing 3-4 minute videos. And I did that because I know how, people can be, oh my gosh, this is so long. Even sitting down for the 4 minutes was a stress. Like, what's going on with that? Come on now. Are you serious? Like, you can't be serious. Then I started doing, like, every week they'd be, like, 8 minutes. And people are just kind of like, you need to chop that. So I want to say that my videos will probably be ranging from 45 minutes to an hour sometime. My reviews will probably be around that length too. Maybe a little shorter, just depending, because sometimes I get a little sidetracked, and I like to, not even sidetrack, I just like to really get into the show. Just like go watch any of the Jedi's reviews and you'll know what I'm talking about. Just, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be talking about things like this on my channel, hopefully. And hopefully nobody gets offended, but like I say, I apologize in advance, but I gotta speak the truth. I'm interested in that. So if you have some truth for me, feel free. Remember, you can hit the like button or you can hit the dislike button. I just want you to express yourself and keep it real. All right, be breezy, don't be easy. It's your girl Jada J.